Um, UFC big night tonight. Is it tonight, Hill? UFC 279. Nate
Yeah.
Diaz.
Oh yeah. Well, it was supposed to be Diaz versus Khamzat Chimaev, but Khamzat Chimaev had an incident in the back with Kevin Holland, in which, like, supposedly he had kicked Kevin Holland in the chest while he was on the ground. They got into a scuffle. Diaz camp came over. It was a whole mess. So I guess it penalized everyone. Besides that, Chimaev didn't make weight. So Dana decided to, instead of scrap the card, flip the card up. You guys want to fight off scene, off camera? You guys are fighting now. They're going to be fighting now. Chimaev versus Holland. Diaz is going to fight Ferguson. So they just swapped it up. So it's still going to be a solid card. So I'm there for that.
And this is a question I wanted to hit you, Hill, with, and P, you can chime in, of course. Jake Paul,
right?
I think he recently announced a fight with Anderson Silva, and it always amazes me that he's able to draw these great UFC fighters to his platform or his boxing entertainment. And it seems like Jake Paul is winning the entertainment war with the UFC at this point, where he's drawing in more eyes, drawing in more money for the fighters. Is he winning? Am I correct in that assumption?
Well, I consider it as, right. So he has about $20.6 million, 20.6 million followers. In this day and age, clout's everything. So his followers are going to follow him in whatever endeavor he does. I mean, he's went to Disney. He's done other aspects of entertainment prior to boxing. He always had boxing in his life with his dad and his brother. But now for someone, he's taking it more serious. His promotion machine is second to none. I'll give him that. His product stinks, but his promotion and clout is fire. Enough to garner tens of hundreds of $millions on these promotions. And he's offering these fights to fighters in different genres, basketball, UFC, football, whatever nature. And he's offering half a purse. 9 times out of 10, this is bigger than any person these other players have ever got. For UFC fighters, the purse that he offered for, oh man, I'm trying to find the fight. It was 4 times his purse he has ever gotten. So to put it in perspective, revenue.
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, Tyron Woodley. It's 4 times bigger than any purse he ever received. 4 times it. Revenue. So revenue sharing for the NFL is 49%. Well, it's 48%. Revenue sharing for the NBA is 49%, and MLB is 50% of revenue sharing. For UFC, it's 20%.
Oof. Dana White, good life.
And we're talking about maybe a half an inch of padding on the hands, CTE, hard, tight contact, injuries, breaks, everything. Of that 20% purse that you're handing out to these different fighters that you're giving, you're talking about 10% is going towards marketing. Another 20% is going towards the gym that they trained in. A lot of times, so if they're going in the fights, the fighters were getting these definitely getting $20,000. They were usually walking home with like $7K after each of these fights. So Woodley ended up making after the fight, he ended up making with this guy like close to like $7 or $8 million. You know what I'm saying? So and Jake is offering these guys these purses. So I can see why the Jake Paul phenomena is scared of Dana, not for the product, but for the pay. And money talks. You're talking about the heavyweight champion is thinking about sitting out Francis Ngannou so that he can actually have a fight in one of these big things versus I think he was gonna fight what's the Brit Tyson Fury.
Mm,
He was
okay.
setting one for Tyson Fury. And that was gonna garner him over close to $100 million.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor, biggest fight was $7 million with the UFC. That was the biggest fight he had. And he was the biggest name. He got $100 million, 85 after, for fighting Mayweather. It pales in comparison, regardless of what, to what UFC could pay to what JP. I don't care what you feel about the content. It's just the money.
Let me ask you this now: is the difference in money a matter of, hey, Jake Paul being able to fill bigger arenas and UFC regulating itself to smaller arenas so that they don't have as many tickets
No,
to sell,
no,
or
not
they're
even.
not
The
making
arenas,
as
they're
much
selling out
money.
massive arenas. It's just a revenue sharing. They prefer to keep it at 80% to the people who made this. Because Dana says, listen, I put $2 million, him and Furtado put $2 million of their money in. They invested $44 million way back when they were starting it out. It turned into a multi-billion-dollar industry. So they asked Dana, will he change it? He's like, I don't see it changing now for 20 years or the next 20 years. So Dana White's like, I put my $2 million in, then $44 million extra. So I'm now worth about $513 million. And it's not because I gave money away. The thing is, the monopoly that UFC has over the fight, this is what people love as a sport. So they grew up doing this. They bought out everything. They bought out Pride. They bought out any of the lesser competitions. UFC bought out their fighters and they bought out their companies. So other people are saying, why don't they go towards Congress and say that they're creating a monopoly and go against it? And Dana's argument is that, okay, if that's the case, why haven't someone bought me out? Apparently I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, what you gonna call it? He's the monopoly. You know, that's what.
Yeah,
but he's pretty much saying, you build the monopoly and buy me out.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
the problem is they can't.
Yeah, the pushback is no, because if I tried, you would buy me out because you're the monopoly.
But he's saying, it took me 20, 30 years to build up to where I am now.
Right, because nobody bought him out.
Right, so make something better and buy me out.
I mean, that sounds good, but if whoever tries that, he's going to buy them out. Thus, he's the monopoly. You know what I mean? I mean,
I get that, but if you have something, all right. So if that was the forefront with, say, like RCA and other different type of record labels, it wouldn't stop other record labels from existing. But other record labels did exist during other big record labels. So I'm saying he's pretty much saying you can build the same product, but just make it better or just as good, and you can coexist if it's just as good. But this is his idea.
Yeah, but the thing with the record labels, I feel like there wasn't a monopoly. I mean, that's the whole. What he's saying is, I'm not a monopoly because you could do it. No, we can't because you're a monopoly. Like I know we're talking in circles here, but it's like the whole point that we're saying you're a monopoly because there is no competition.
Right,
and we don't feel that a competitor could be created because you're so far ahead of the game. Once that competitor is created, you could buy them out.
But his thing is that I came into it when it was 6 other competitors.
Right.
I worked.
But none of those there was 6 other competitors. Right. It was even. There was no monopoly.
Right.
That's why you were able to rise up. What they're saying is no one else could do that.
But his thing is, why weren't they able to, though, during that time, since it was a competitive field?
Because it was 6 of them. It was 6
right,
of them.
Why couldn't Pride become UFC, though, is what I'm saying, though. That's his thing.
Because the playing field was so even, Pride couldn't buy out the other guys like you're buying out the other guys.
Yeah, but he did something to make himself a monopoly. You know what I'm saying? Like he did.
That's the whole point. He did something to make himself a monopoly. Yeah.
Right. But my whole thing is this: it's America. You have the ability to be good, though.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying he is a monopoly. I'm not saying I have a problem with him being a monopoly.
Right.
I'm
And
saying,
he's not arguing that he isn't one either, though. But he's saying that when I came into this, there were 6 existing companies prior to me. I was in boxing. You guys were in mixed martial arts. I saw something and I turned UFC into something in which you guys were already established in. I mean, that's a problem on them. You know what I'm saying? So
no, I agree. It sounds like he's not. Oh, like you said, he's not saying that he's not a monopoly.
right.
He's saying that there's nothing wrong with, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
saying you guys existed before me. Why weren't you UFC?
no,
You guys weren't seeing them that way either. My vision turned this company into what it is.
no, I understand it from his perspective. Like, I grinded, I did it. There was 6 other competitors.
Right.
I came up. Why can't somebody else? But again, because you're a monopoly. Like, it just comes down to that. But
Right, but he didn't start like a monopoly, though. You know what I'm saying?
no,
Yeah, but
I get
what,
it.
I think what P is trying to allude to here is that, hey, yeah, he's right in the sense that, hey, he started on an even playing field with everybody else, and everybody had the
Right.
opportunity to do exactly what he's done. But since he started, as he's gone along for these last 20 years, he set the play. He's readjusted the playing field to the point where, hey, if a young pride organization was to come up now, UFC's modus
Are gonna buy it out.
has been, hey, buy it out, grab their people, and keep it moving.
Right.
So at this point, he's so big, and his organization is so big.
Correct.
He leaves the arena bare of the opportunity for competition to present itself to him.
Right.
Like, hey, he doesn't allow competition because it's like, hey, I understand what he's saying as far as, hey, why don't you guys do what I did? But we can't do what you did when you realize what you did and you change the entire playing field so that whatever you did 20 years ago could not happen right now.
Yeah.
Couldn't, like, hey, a young UFC just spending 46 million all together,
Right.
coming in and dominating the field. UFC itself won't allow that to happen. You know what I mean? So
USFL, NFL, like like the antitrust laws, what they did. I get it. MLB, you know, the big 3 and everything. I understand that, but these guys benefit for having a vision. Like, I don't fault the NFL, I don't fault UFC, I don't fault, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
that's
you
fair.
have a better product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
At one point,
I mean,
the AFL.
Yeah, the antitrust laws, in a roundabout way, it punishes someone for being a great businessman or being a great company. At the end of the day, when you crush your competition, you kind of get punished for it. It's not his fault that he had this vision and he implemented it extremely well, and now they want to punish him for it. I get, if I'm him, I understand exactly where he's coming from. Like, okay, this is America. I built up this company. I bought out the competition.
Right.
You punishing me for good business.
But I think on the other flip side of that, Pete, is what we started the conversation talking about is as far as, hey, how come Jake Paul can offer more money? Part of that is because, hey, he has more money in his coffers to offer, point blank, which personally, but Dana White has set the table or set the arena where, hey, because he has this monopoly, it's either you get with UFC and settle for the pennies, or you get with Jake Paul. You know what I mean? And there's nothing equivalent to another UFC that another fighter could get into and make money. So as far as like pay quality and whatnot, monopolies are dangerous. And the fighters are seen.
I get that, but
they can unionize.
Yeah, I again, it's good business. Like, if I pay my employees a lesser amount, I could pour more of that money into growing my company. It's just, I'm not talking about if it's right or wrong. It's just good business.
I mean,
You know,
hey, NFL does the same thing
yeah,
to a certain degree, with
Yeah.
the unguaranteed that. So, I'm just saying, hey, that's the dangers of the monopoly, in the sense that, hey, the line workers or your staff, everybody except for the owner,
Mhm.
has to deal with, hey, being at the owner's win when it comes
Absolutely.
to sharing revenue and sharing profits.
yes,
So
sir.
unionize. Good luck on that.